Hello everyone and welcome to another Television 2 video. Today we continue League with Game 2 between Crusader and Vampiro. So if you haven't seen Game 1, go check it out. Game 1 was won by Crusader, which means that for those of you who don't remember what's at stake or don't know yet, Crusader and Vampiro both are fighting with this in this very best of two for their spot in the playoffs. Crusader got Game 1, so he now has a chance to secure that and find and be locked for the playoffs, or Vampiro has the potential chance to force a tiebreaker if he can manage to win this game. Um, so yeah, definitely interesting matchup here on this specific map. We are on Slutsk once again. I'm still not sure why people play this map, but whatever. And because Vampiro was so nice to let me know who was player 1 and 2, I can tell you that Crusader first picked second Pancelos and Vampiro then countered with second Panzer. So interesting choices there. And with that, let's go to the decks. Second Pancelos, a interesting choice here in my opinion, because while it has 2k, it is limited. You know, you don't have a rows and rows of Panthers and Tigers, and Slutsk West is a very 2k heavy map. You also don't have any 2k AG, so there's definitely some limitations there, and also, I mean, against anything like an IS2 or a King Tiger, you can't really do much. So that's definitely a limitation, but let's go to the recon tab. We do have the regular recon without any veterancy. I can't say that I'm a huge fan of this. Then told you to Panzer Freeze, nice tools there. Infantry tab, of course, limited. But you have some nice stuff there with the mod Lovers 44M with the bazooka, which is pretty nice. And then otherwise, just yeah, Lovers, Arkazok, the usual. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Some leadership as well. Tank tab, 2-on-1s, 2-on-2s, usually great tools, but I think for Slutsk maybe not that good. Panzer Force, Panther in A phase, and then in B phase we have Panthers and Tigers for all the nice 2k. Support tab, Flamer, Machine Gun, Commander, and ammo. There's not much else there that you could take. AT tab, just the two 75 mils, one in A, one in B phase. AA tab, of course, all Nimrods. And as AAPs, they are still fantastic. They have lost a little bit of their shininess when their health was reduced, but still pretty strong. I mean, you basically just don't want to use them in CQC against armor nowadays. But other than that, still fantastic. Artillery tab, he brings the 81mm mortar and then 3 cards of the 149 in B phase, all at single vet. I mean, this is just super slot inefficient. Also, I'm not sure. I think 2 will probably do the job. He brings them with ammo too, which is super expensive. So this is something that I will probably not do on Maverick. The 4 ammo that you have in support up should be plenty, and then you can make it more affordable by not bringing with the ammo. That's what I would do probably. Then the air tab, we do have the Recon Focke-Wulf 189 with the bombs, the ME410, some BF109s as fighters, and some J88s to round it all up. So we can maybe see some air spam here as well. And on the other side, we do have second Panzer, an interesting division, of course, because they do not have any tanks in A phase. They come only in B phase, which might be a big problem here, actually, because Vampiro will not have any 2K tools to deal with Panthers until B phase. And that is a very serious limitation. Also, even 1750 meter range, other than the Pack 40, is uncontestable for him. So that could lead to some problems for sure, because there's lots of open areas, of course, on that map. So let's go to Recon tab. We do have all sorts of SPWs. He brings the SPW233 and the SPW234, which is the Puma. We do have some Aufklär, but only in B phase. Odd choice there as well. And then we do have the Aufklär Panther D, the SEKF set 250/9 in C phase for maximum SEKF set spam. Interesting choice there. Infantry tab is of course limited, but on this map that's not that big of a deal. We do, and everything comes at double vet because you of course do get free veterans for this division. As you can see, everything has at least single vet. This is so beautiful. Infantry tab, we do have the Stone Pioneer, and then two types of Panzer Grenadier in A phase, one with and one without Panzerfaust, and one comes in with the half track. In B phase we have pretty much the same, but only one Panzergren, and in C phase we do have just a Panzergren. Tank tab, we do have the Panzer 4J, which is nice because it's a little bit cheaper. And then some Ages as well as the leader, all in B phase. So that's a little bit of an overkill. I would have expected him to bring at least a card in C, but yeah, at the same time, with how many you get at double that, it's really you can just put them in B phase. You have Panzer force for days, and then the same thing with Panthers. Really, we do see a Panther A leader in B phase together with a Panther G card and another Panther A card in C phase. That's insane. That's just absolutely great. Support that flamethrowers, IG-18, machine gun, IG-33, commander, and Gorilla. No ammo though. Can't say that I am a fan of that. A T-Tab, Panzer must have, of course, and then some Pack 40s in A and B phase, and the Jagd Panzer 4A0 in C for even more tanks. I mean, this is way overboard, but it definitely is fun to look at. And then the AA tab, we only have an 88 in A phase. This is a little bit risky, in my opinion, because we don't have any cheap options, and we already know that second Pancelos has, and Crusader also brings it, the Recon Bomber, which means that now basically Vampiro has to bring 120 or actually 25 because of the transport point 88 to deal with that plane. So it'd probably be better if he brings some 20 mils as well. And to be honest, you actually get decent availability with the free veterancy. You can double vet them. You can bring it in a D transport with another 20 mil, and now it's actually even a bit cheaper, so it's nothing to complain about. B phase we do have the SKF at 7.1, and in C phase we have the Gepard, which I think is a little bit redundant at that point. Artillery sound we do have the Beobachter, so there is some recon earlier than B phase, which is of course very important. We have the mortars, and this is basically the reason why I'm not a fan of not having ammo support tab, because now you need to bring an SK18 to resupply that mortar, but to continue on, we do have an SK18 and then the 150 in C phase. So tons of artillery. Air tab pretty light, just a recon plane in B phase. What an odd choice. Usually bring them in A phase, because but B phase is usually A run, and then the Focke Wolf as a fighter, but also B phase. Very odd choice again, because once again, if you really need fighter, you probably want to have them in A phase. And if you don't have them in A phase, then it can't be that important to have fighters, really. So, we are back here on Slutsk. So, as always, let's quickly talk about the map and then look at the deployments before we start this. So, Slutsk is not very balanced because look at this. There's three flags that are relatively close to the front line on a red side. On blue side, there's basically none. And I mean, Blue can just realistically grab this flag and this flag relatively early on. Even this one, you just push something a little bit further forward and you are done with it. Now, one thing to remember here, though, is that Crusader, who's on the bad side, has the 2k advantage for the first 10 minutes of the game, which is A phase. After that point, Vampiro actually unlocks 2k as well. Vampiro has a little bit of 2k with the 88, but it's not fantastic. The problem is, though, that Crusader doesn't have any 2k HE, so that can definitely be an issue. The problem is, however, that the 2k advantage of Crusader in A phase is not as significant with the side that he's on, right? He can't really leverage it super easily to gain flags here. That's definitely going to be a little bit of a problem. I have to imagine he'll probably want to fight over this flag here because that is probably a good spot for him. The open, as I said, there's limited things for him to gain here unless he wants to push super deep up into here, as we've seen Paladin Leopard doing it recently. Anyway, let's start with the deployment. So we do see a little bit more aggressive deployment here by Crusader, but he basically only tries to secure this flag, although the unloading here is potentially a little bit risky. Support weapons here, Panther, nothing out of the ordinary, machine gun to cover off the open and basically just make sure that he can hold this flag. Vampiro does react with also a defensive deployment, nothing out of the ordinary there, just some AT, a machine gun, and then some flamers to hold this ground there. Flamer to grab this flag, nice play there, and some recon. Going further north, Crusader also deploys defensively in the town. Vampiro brings for the center an 88, which can definitely do a little bit of work here. Potentially even keep that Panther at bay if he tries to push further forward. And then on the very north, it looks like Vampiro tries to get into it, but not super deep, or not with a super big push. He brings a second 88 in right away. That may be a little bit of an, that's maybe a little bit of an overkill, I would say. And then Flamer, Panzer, yeah, nothing big there. Just tries to secure everything off here and here as well. And on the other side, Crusader basically does the same. Defensive here, defensive here. Getting ready to push across here, but not pushing yet. So neither of these players deploys very aggressively, which is an interesting choice. Once again, I think, in my opinion, you really should have some aggression with your deployment. Now, that doesn't not necessarily mean that you have to get a flag right with your deployment, but you should at least prepare, be ready to for it. And the players do this to some extent, but like here, for example, there's not much pressure to follow up for Crusader here. As it is right now, there's not much to follow up. And Vampiro, he could potentially, with his light armor and decently fast transports, he could definitely get into here and grab this flag. Like, this definitely doable. So surprised that it doesn't go for it. Now, this, of course, can be bring him a flag, and it does, which brings it to early 13-11 for him. But it's not a super strong grab. It's really more of a thin temporary hold, because I mean the MG34 will be able to deal with that eventually. The 75mm finds what? Oh, the machine gun. MG42 will be able to wipe that out, I would think. There we go. Look at the suppression adding up. That's really bad. Losing one of these early on, there's not that much AT guns, that many AT guns. Pack 40 here together with the MG42 does some work here as well. Machine gun already down. The flamer stick get in though, flag is secured. MG34 is not yet in range to deal with the flamethrower. Will it get into range of the 88? I don't think so, although the 88 could definitely pop forward and deal with that. Panzer now moving across as well to deal with that. So, I mean, this is the problem with this map, right? Crusader is now busy with actually just making sure they can re-grab this flag. It could be easily fixed by him doing the same thing with a flamer. Nice little recon play there. Having two Beobachter should give plenty of recon. Where's this one sitting? Interesting choice. There is no church here, I don't think so. No. There's no vision up here, I guess, though. To run two bullies, the MG42. Flamer here got in. SPW and Pentagram are slowly making their way. Wait, what? Okay. Interesting. Are these pushing? Okay, they are pushing across now. Just like that. I mean, yeah, Vampiro making a big mistake by not covering this off with some sort of AT. You definitely have to do it. MG42 kills the Flamer, but is now under fire by the 88. Let's quickly see what these players can see. Crusader cannot see much. You can see an SPW 233 here and the 88, of course. Two mortars now in dealing with that 88. That's a problem if this is all the 2K you have, right? It's just gonna get pinned by the mortars now. Vampiro, on the other hand, also does not have a ton of vision, although he has plenty of recon up here. He doesn't actually get much out of it. And this one, yeah, this is an odd spot. Doesn't really provide much information. You probably want to have it like somewhere here or here. Maybe even like up here. Something like that. We should see this pinned momentarily. Nimrod coming in. Interesting choice because we haven't seen any airplays as of yet. And also, I really do think it's a mistake that I personally still make a lot. But I definitely agree with who told me that. I think it was Barbarian. That it is generally a major mistake if you play as a balanced player, if you buy planes in A phase against Maverick, because you will just weaken your front line. And I tend to agree with that. So you probably should. Like, Vampiro shouldn't, and he can't. We know that because we know his deck. But he should not be bringing planes right now anyway. So the Nimrod is kind of redundant, I feel like. And the other thing is, like, what here could really be like a plane here would be annoying, yes, but is there anything here that could be killed that would make Crusader's entire line here collapse? Nothing really. Like, yeah, killing any unit here that dies is definitely an annoyance, but it's not the end of the world. So that's kind of how I see it, right? Like if you have key assets that really need to be kept alive, that this is where I would preemptively buy AA, or of course after things are going well and you're floating some points, 88 still alive and doing actually quite nice, quite well. The Pack 40 on the other hand is under fire by the 81 mils now. Right, but this is where I would buy AA like in advance. Otherwise, I think you don't need to buy AA in advance, because you know the tools that you have should still win you the fight on the ground, and if they don't, your opponent probably won't bring the plane, to be honest. Nice coverage here by Pack 40, so this area should be locked down in terms of AT as well. This Pack 40 here seems to miss the Panzer 4 quite a bit, but I should be able to lock down this area as well. Puma's now coming in. They can definitely deal with the Panzer 4 up close. Turans especially. I think this one has, yeah, this one has quite, oh, actually only 1,000 meter range. Didn't know that. Thought it was 1,250. They can start rolling with the Panzer III now, but they can definitely realistically pen that at 1,500 meter range. Another 81mm mortar coming in up north. It looks like Crusader decided that this is the place to push for him. The problem is just it's so hard to reinforce for red side. It's also annoying to reinforce for blue side, really. But blue side has the advantage that they can at least bring up units up here, which is a little bit safer than just pushing across the open. Pack 40 is still out in the open. Is he? Okay, so he's manually targeting the Panzer 4. I would have expected him to at least, you know, Q moving it into here so that it is set up in cover for the next engagement. Panzer 4 gets penned once and is being called back. Pack 40 still alive, but forced off. MG42 is taking a little bit of suppression. Maybe damage to. I don't know what the max health on that is actually. But so far, both players playing a rather slow game. Now we do see the first air play from Crusader. I'm surprised that he didn't bring that earlier, because I mean recon is so valuable, so you probably want to bring that early on, but the 88 is able to stop that in its tracks. Two 81mm mortars now in. So he's doing the Hobo certified Wolf Pack. Although Hobo's Wolf Pack has 4 mortars actually. And that Wolf Pack kills everything, I can tell you that much. It is super expensive, but it will kill. Panzer 4 is not moving, so they might actually get killed by that. But I don't think it was actually necessary. The Pumas at this range will definitely be able to deal with those units there relatively efficiently. I mean, of course, it is a problem having only the Pumas, but so far, Crusader hasn't really made it a big problem for Vampiro. I'm also surprised that he doesn't try to make any plays up here where he actually has an advantage with the Panther. He knows that both 88s are out, so he knows that once he's dealt with that one, he basically has free reign up here. But then he of course needs to be careful with the Pack 40s in here, the one up here as well. And the Agi-33s can't really do much against the Panther. So this is where the mortars could now really do a lot of work. But they are not doing any of that as of now. Turan versus IG-18. Turan seems to be winning. It can definitely get killed by the IG-18, but the chances of the IG-18 actually pulling it off are not super high because the accuracy is too low. I would need to land 2 shots, but it can definitely pen it once. That would not be out of the ordinary that this would happen. So Crusader taking it very, very slow here. Poking things with the 81mm mortar now. He has to be a little bit careful, of course, but I'm surprised by the lack of aggression. I feel like he needs to, before, like if he allows Vampiro to just turtle up, his position is not going to get better because he needs to push so deep to get the flags. So just a little bit more pressure is what I would have expected from him. That's not to say that he can't take it slow and methodically. He has the income advantage in B phase, after all, so he can build up now and then overwhelm Vampiro. But I just feel like because of the spot on the map, we want to grab some good territory early on. Vampiro just building up defense. The IG-33 is probably not that important here actually, because there's not that many assets that are going to be problematic for Vampiro anyway that require an IG-33. Right up here is really just tank and 2K territory. You can deal with AT guns, I guess, if they push up close. I'm not sure if that's necessary just now. Did the Panzer 4? No, it's still alive, but now it just died to, what was that? Pack 40? Maybe? Puma? No, I don't know. Mortar blob going after 75 mil. It is in radio range. Does it get a kill? No. And the T75 mil is falling back. Row of Turans now coming in. Panzer 3 looks like it got a pen by something. Maybe another Puma or the SPW233. I think there was a second Puma here at some point, so maybe that's what penned it, and then it went down to the Panzer 3. Possible. Down south, still nothing happening. I mean, he has 81 mm mortars here. They're just sitting there. They still have 10 shells each. So I'm surprised that he hasn't used them. I mean, he knows. What does he see actually? Oh, he has basically no vision. I mean, he sees this. That is already worth going after. Vampiro, on the other hand, sees basically nothing. That's because where he has recon, there's not much happening. And where the action is, neither of the players have recon. So that's definitely unfortunate. But forces here by Crusader slowly building up. And the thing is, if you can cover it up from here, or maybe even here, and really grab the town, then it's not as easy anymore for blue to actually push back in. So you can lock that down relatively nicely. In one more just going just after the general area here. Oh, Panzer 3 goes down to the Puma. Good kill there by the Puma. Like 40 opens up on the Mod Lovers. There's no 44. There's one 44 enemy that could easily kill out of all these units there. Back 40 just gets to poke on these runs, but they now take a route that should be safe for them. Out of range of the Pack 40. Tiger now in there as well. Interesting choice. It can definitely outrange things here. Do you have the Panther D in? So there is some sort of recon. What does he see now? I think he should be seeing more. So Crusader actually gets a little bit of vision. Vampiro actually sees a lot now. So that recon Panther really paying off. He also has an Aufklärer in here. We'll probably just walk that out in the open a little bit further. We do have a Panther A coming in as well. So Vampiro already setting up quite nicely to dominate the open there. Nothing of that sort down south, which is interesting because Vampiro, now that he has the IG-33, he can poke at all the support weapons that are in here and reveal themselves. He can push forward with some infantry to re-grab this flag and use his 2K, AT, and AG to cover all of this off and make sure that whatever tries to poke at his infantry will get destroyed. So I'm surprised that it doesn't actually do that. Panzer 4 is now coming in as well to cover this off, but the flag is lost. 13-11 for Crusader for the first time as he nicely grabs this. Aufklärer Panther now pushing forward, will run into the Tiger. The armor of the Aufklärer Panther is lower, the rate of fire of the Tiger is lower as well, so in that regards the fight is not that great for the Tiger. Oh, he moves back just a bit and lets the Panther come in so that the Tiger gets the first shot off. Disengages once again. Panther D bounces on the Tiger. Wow. IG-18 might be able to get shot off on the Turan 1. Remember, guys, that the Turan 1 is classified as a light tank, but it has the health of a medium tank. It has 10 health as far as I remember. So even if the IG-18 gets a shot off, it should not kill it. Ah, it's busy with infantry, it looks like. Oh, Argazok gets spotted out and shelled. Yeah, the IG-18 is not going to land that hit anyway. There we go. 2 Panthers now coming in. But we do have some nice. I mean, this one was a double vet already. This one is now double vet with the leader next to it. But 3-on-1, the Crusaders 2K tanks should, generally speaking, win that fight there. Panzer moving in. Panzer now coming in to cover, I guess, this like crossing here of the 2-on-1s. 2-on-1s can be a problem because up close they can still pen the no, we don't need to check. They can still pen the Panzer Force. It's not going to be super easy, but it can definitely be done, and they're of course much cheaper and they have a very high rate of fire. 75 mil coming in as well. Down south, still no major plays happening. Yeah, this is something that you need to remember, guys. This is really, really bad if that happens. When you buy artillery and then leave it idle, that's one of the worst things you can do, because it is an investment, especially bring all these mortars. That's not cheap, so you want to make best use of them. If you just have them sitting there not doing anything, that's of course very bad. Also, still surprised here. I mean, Crusader has vision here, so she should probably realize that Vampiro has his tools not at the edge of the hill, because otherwise you should be able to see them. So he could potentially try and go for a play up here, trying to bring things up in here close, and then pressure this flag actually, but he's not doing that. Looks like the Turans died. Interesting. I guess they just could not ban the Panzer IV. I mean, they can, you know, it's at the limit, but it's definitely doable. It's definitely pennable. So I'm surprised that they did this poorly. Panzer Blob has arrived, but it is not actually being used. That's interesting. I mean, you want to push forward and kill these. But of course, Pack 40 is lurking here, waiting for its prey. They can definitely pen the Tiger or the Panther up close as well. Not up close, but like close enough. Panzer IV here, down south, finds an SPW to kill. Panzer IV on Vampiro's side coming in. Crusader did not vet his Panzer IVs, which is a major mistake in my opinion. The Panzer IV can't really, like, the kill doesn't really change much here because neither of these players is set up to push. There's a Tiger coming in, which is quite redundant since there's a Panther already anyway. I would rather expect, I would probably bring some infantry and try to get into here, if anything. Now there's a 149 in, and it's going after Pack 40 here. So far not getting any kills, but he will eventually. This thing is an absolute beast. Pack 40 is pinned, that already does a good job, so now there is potential for a push coming. Oh, looks at that, the Panther Tiger Blob did engage. It did not go super well for Crusader though, both Panthers seems to have died. The Tiger wins against the remaining Aufklärer Panther Dido, so that's at least something, but that's two Panthers traded for two Panthers. And Vampiro has Panthers for day, Crusader does not. So that's really bad for Crusader at the end of the day, even though, of course, on paper, neither of these players have gotten a significant advantage out of that. At the same time, though, there is still a Tiger here now from Crusader that could potentially dominate you, but once again, you can't actually do that much. I don't think Crusader knows, but maybe he does. Let's actually see. He knows that the back 40 is here. But Vampiro actually, yeah, look at that. He spots a lot of things now. So Crusader, on the other hand, is still blind for the most part. That's not ideal for Crusader. It's something that I have to learn as well. This is why I started checking this more often. First of all, because some of you told me that it would be cool to get more information about the vision of both players, but also because, of course, it's interesting for me to see and learn a little bit more. Because personally, I also do not use enough recon, so it's definitely something interesting to see there. 81 mil is out of ammo before it can kill the Pack 40. Looks like the Pack 40 claimed the Panzer IV here. So Crusader's armor slowly gets broken down. It's still on a 1311, but we are getting close to the end of B phase, and I don't feel like he's traded super well. And he's not capable of, he's not applying, it's not that he's technically not capable, but he's not applying enough pressure at least. So Vampiro can just continue to build up slowly, trade a little bit, and he will eventually just overwhelm Crusader, I feel like. 1311 is definitely not what you need. And now we see a push being developed to get back into this flag. And it doesn't look like Crusader is set up to stop that. More infantry coming in to try and push for it down. I mean, Vampiro has a relatively thin line of defense for these areas. Oh, I haven't noticed that. We have a commander in. Interesting. That's... I don't think it was necessary here. I mean, it is great to have, don't get me wrong. But he also has a lot of double-vetted tools anyway, so Not sure if the commander is actually necessary there, like, or in this deck in general, because if most things that you have are double vetted, the leader will bring it to triple vet anyway. But I mean, what we have to remember is the earlier you bring your commander in general, the better, because the more you get out of it. But as I said, in this case, I don't think it's actually necessary at all. I mean, it gives nice triple vet to these assets, but I don't think they really need it as it is right now. But yeah, I mean, there's basically just flamers here. There's one Panzer here and one Panzer here, and that's about it. So that could have potentially worked, but the IG-33 and the Pak 40 here do the job. And sorry, I had to cough real quick. Will wipe out those transports. I don't think that Crusader's going to get in. They might want to, probably would have wanted to deploy some smoke here before he could get in. Down south, it looks like Vampiro is now getting ready for a counter push into this flag. Slowly build up forces, slowly moved forward, and he's now ready to go. And this is the problem for red side, right? This is so easy to grab, and unfortunately for Crusader, he is not really set up defenses are ready to really deal with a big push here, and he's not pressured Vampiro enough to prevent him from actually building up for that push. Up north, Vampiro looks like he's also slowly working his way back into this flag. Could potentially bring it to 14-10. That's still nowhere near the 15-9 that you would always want, of course, but I mean, we are at the end of B phase, and Vampiro's already on the way. Oh no, sorry, it's still 13-11 for Crusader. So that will bring it back to 12-12. That will bring it into 13-11. Crusader though made some progress here and actually managed to grab this forest bit. Panzer IV now engaging the Pak 40 and this Panzer IV right here. No, never mind. I guess the Pak 40 was engaged by the infantry here. Panzer IVs could potentially push forward though. Panther D in up here as well. Two 149s in now, but there is two SK-18s to return the fire. There we go. Flag is grabbed by Vampiro. I mean, yeah, Crusader's not really made enough use of his Maverick income, it feels like. And Vampiro is doing a good job at pressuring him here already. He now could start pressuring this. He is grabbing that flag. He still needs to be careful here because Crusader still has a decent amount of forces here, and he's pushing forward here slowly but surely. And technically, Crusader still has the income advantage at the moment. Now the 149s would probably need to return the counter battery now, otherwise they might. I mean, the SK-18s, I think the 149 will generally win the counter battery war. It fires really fast, and it is a big caliber, so it should generally easily pin and then kill the SK-18s, whereas the same cannot be said for the SK-18s. They are very accurate, but not accurate enough. Don't have the damage. Looks like the 44M here killed the Panzer IV. A great kill there for Crusader. Panzer pushing forward under fire by the Pak 40 it was, I think. Pak 40 and IG-33 here under fire at the 149s. Wolfpack has been reloaded and is now going after the Pak 40 over there. Down south, Armor Blob just pushing forward, kills units in a transport. That's always a really bad loss. The 81 mortar still. Oh, no, they've actually been used now, but they now need to fall back, otherwise they might get killed. Although will get killed in the transport again as well. No, unloads in time. Now we'll just get wiped out in the open. Still no push for this flag. I'm very surprised about that. Panther up close to cover this off is risky because at this range the Panzer IV can definitely pen it. But it's only one Panzer IV left, so that's a gamble. And it will still struggle against the Panther, of course. More Panzer IVs coming in. Yeah, this is covered off by the Panther, as we've just seen with the SDK set there. So you could potentially kill these relatively easily. Up north, it looks like the Panzer IV blob here, together with the few infantry that are remaining, Yeah, nicely stopped Vampiro's push back into this flag. So Crusader's going to hold that for a bit, and he's making a little bit of progress in the time, but not too much. He still has a definitely larger force here than Vampiro has. He could potentially push forward, but he does not. 149 did go down. The other one has now taken up counter battery, as without many results so far. It also will need to be resupplied soon, as the ammo is just out of range. Panzer kills the SPW that pushed forward here that could have otherwise killed these mortars. Tiger is going after one. Probably spotted the Panzer here. Yeah, the problem is, like, first of all, whoever starts the counter battery is usually get the upper hand in the artillery war. But what you definitely can't do is ignore it for too long, and I think Crusader has done just that. He has ignored the counter battery for too long, up until one of his 149s died. If you get counter batteried, you need to respond ASAP, otherwise you are bound to lose that artillery war. But I mean, look at that. Even though Vampiro's pusher has been broken down, he's building up such a force here with Panzers, Panzer force. He still has his wolf pack, he has tons of artillery now, so the backlines for Vampiro are looking really, really juicy. Meanwhile, the same cannot be said for Crusader. I mean, he still has the 81 mortars, but they need to be resupplied. His 149s, though, are not doing super well, and his tank assets are relatively thin compared to those of Vampiro. And Vampiro, of course, has the veterancy advantage that should not be ignored either. Down south, Pack 40 versus Panda. It will pen eventually. Panzer in the woods, not the place you want to fight. Lewis will win. Yeah, the problem is will he pen before it's too stressed out or potentially even dead. So Panda will of course damage it with every hit. I don't think it's gonna make it. It's probably gonna die. Yeah, it's just gonna miss now because it's too stressed out. And there we go, Pack 40 is dead. Panzergren here in a good spot to stop that, and these of course cannot do anything at range against a Panzergren. The smoke play is going off here for that Panda D to prevent vision. Definitely nice to see that. Motlovash now pushing forward, will run into the Flamer. Flamer of course is a good defensive tool to hold that flag. It will force off the Lovash, but the flag is grabbed back to 13 land for Crusader. And because neither player is super aggressive so far, we are within 27 minutes and it's still the flag situation, ticket situation is still not bad for either of those players. Crusader has not made much progress. It's not looking too bad for Vampiro. So I guess it's looking bad for Crusader because he has not made that much progress. We should probably put it that way. Tiger versus Panther here. That would be huge if the Tiger can win that fight. Oh, both get a pen because as I said, there is limited 2k assets for Crusader, so if this Tiger dies, that will make it very, very difficult for him to continue to contest the open efficiently. Oh, misses all around again and again. Wow. And the Tiger finally goes down to the Panda D. We do have a command incoming. I don't know what for, but I guess we do have it now. Panzer could just push forward and wipe out those 81, but of course they are not within line of sight for Vampiro. It doesn't know that they're there. Motlovers here were just dismantled by that one Panzergren. Ouch. Still, this flag could be grabbed by Vampiro. He could easily stop the bleed, but so far he's not working on that. Aufklär Panzer, Yak Panzer pushing forward. Actually, he can go quite far before he gets spotted out by this Tiger and get into line of sight. Within range. Panzergren is poked at by the Tiger. Panther, on the other hand, is here to stop that though. Pack 40 once again trying to pick a fight against the Panther. You probably want to move it like into cover, so and then poke out like that. That's definitely something you could do. You might just barely be in APCR range as well then, because then it will relatively consistently pen that Panzer. Right now it can, but it will struggle mightily, as we can see. And I think it will just die again. I don't think it's a good fight for the Pack 40. There we go, Pack 40 goes down. Yikes. So the SK-18 blob here is pretty nice, but it's not doing anything right now, which is a bad choice because, of course, if you have it, once again, if you have your artillery and it is expensive, you want to use it as good as you can. We do have another 149 in, so potentially the artillery war is not lost. And if Vampiro actually allows himself to get into a prolonged artillery war, instead of actually leveraging his advantage for a good push, Crusader might be able to keep that tick going for long enough, and if he can trade really well enough, he might be able to hold on long enough in total to actually take that win, even though he should not, considering the advantage that Vampiro will get in terms of income. 181 will goes down. Panzer has pushed forward, might kill the other one. The motorized Arkansas can kill the Panzer, but it is not doing so right now. Yak Panzer in position to snipe some transport there. Now the SK-18s have opened up on the Panzer. I mean, that could have easily been fixed by just bringing, you know, a Panzer yourself. Or, I mean, even those would work. Maybe not through here because then I get sniped, but like if you move through here and then engage here with an APCR range, easily should be able to, they should easily be able to kill that Panther. But there would have been options, let's put it at that. 12-12, as Vampiro re-grabs this flag. Tiger here poking at the Pack 40. I mean, Vampiro could just overwhelm Crusader now with big tanks, but it looks like he's rather focusing on building up more artillery. So, I mean, he still needs to leverage his income advantage on the grounds to actually grab flags. He can't wait forever. Now, I know that the flag advantage is not, the ticket advantage for Crusader is not actually that massive, so he can take some time to turn it around, but I mean, he has traded well enough to do so. But he is investing right now mostly into his backlines, and that's of course very, very dangerous. Because once again, if you always invest into your backlines, you don't have enough on your front lines. And we can definitely see that. Like, there's no, they could easily push back into here. He just needs to send the units there. He could probably deal with this. He just needs to have some units there. He could deal with this. Not deal with this. He could grab this flag. Let's put it at that. It's all very doable. But of course, also the support weapons need to fire, right? Stage 1 mortar stick, get a burst off here. You know, they could easily just pound everything here and then Vampiro could push back in. The SK-18s are now on the fire by the 149s, and it does not look super well for them. So far, relatively quiet. I mean, Crusader's doing a good job at just holding on. He needs to, probably wants to resupply some of his mortars. Oh, this one actually still has the shells. Yeah, just poke at that and then you get that flag back. At both these, like, Crusader just needs to focus on having flags for now and then just making sure that he can make it as hard as possible for Vampiro to actually get flags back. And he might be able to pull that off still because Vampiro is too passive. Vampiro would easily be able to win that, not only because of how he's traded, but also because of how easy it is for him to grab flags on this map. But he needs to start doing it. So if Crusader can stall just the right way and just increase the gap here between these two players a little bit constantly, then it might actually work out for him. But I mean, now he's under fire by all the artillery, I guess. I mean, the 150 is... I know the 150 is going after the Panther once again. Wow. The question is, though, I think Crusader... maybe his recon situation has increased... No, it's not that improved that much. Vampiro doesn't actually spot that much either. But he's finally decided that he can grab this flag, which he could have done a long time ago, but now he has decided to go for it. Champigny coming in should easily win against these at CQC. Tiger versus Yak Panzer. Up close, of course, very, very dangerous for the Tiger. Yak Panzer kills a unit in the transport. The SPW now pushing forward. Another Panzer IV coming in. Artillery leader now into buff the artillery. Love to see that, but it is not within range. Probably because it moved as it was retreating. I don't know. Panda Chi now coming for the open. STK-7 finally pushing across the open to grab that flag, which could have happened a long time ago, but Tiger's there to stop that. You probably want to do this with some infantry, and then you would have to, yeah, move these forwards to cover that off. Panda will also help covering this off. More recon coming in. I mean, there's a bit of buff that's not needed, unless you want to bring it like out here. That would definitely be helpful as well. 81mm mortar is now finally in operation. 44M can definitely deal with that SPW233 there. Oh, but Arcazok here goes down. The Modras Lowers 44M has been killed off as well. So that brings Vampiro's flag and brings it back to a 13-11 for Vampiro after such a long time. Still 15 minutes to go, so it's going to be hard for Crusader to hang on as a Vampiro finally starts poking at flags. And half of Vampiro's support weapon or artillery blob is still sitting there idle. The 81 mortars are not being used, the 150 is not being used, another 150 is being called in. I mean, if you're not even using the artillery guns that you have, there's no point in bringing more artillery, really, in my opinion. Well, I mean, also, you just have to know at some point that you have enough support tools and that it's time to finally push instead of just building up support weapons, right? But it can be, I do get it, it can be hard at times to know when the time is ripe to actually start pushing and when it is not. But I mean, the lack of pressure from Crusader should tell Vampiro that he can definitely start pressuring himself right now. Another 149 is pinned. This one is idle. So, I mean, yeah, the problem is, like, at this point, even if Crusader starts shooting first, and even if these are the great Hungarian 149s, the RT war is pretty much lost. But there are 2 supplies coming. Oh, so it's time to resupply all the mortars. That makes sense. Down south, not much pressure now. Most of the pressure still here in the town. Panzer 4 here to deal with the situation there. Oh, but H-18 will be able to stop that infantry relatively easily. Still 1311, slowly taking down Crusader, and yeah, it's going to be rough for Crusader to get the win here. I do have to say so. He was not aggressive enough, I feel like, but of course it's also much harder on his side. I do feel like if the sides were reversed, Crusader might have been able to get a nice triple tick going early on. That was definitely not the case here. There were some missed opportunities for Crusader, don't get me wrong, but it is much harder on his side to get that triple tick going. You have to push much further. So I would say that if on this map, I mean, you are at a massive advantage on blue side anyway, but especially if you are up against Maverick, Maverick really just needs the income advantage to actually be able to even grab a flag, and then you still are somehow supposed to get 59, which is really hard. So if you play balanced versus Maverick, and as a balanced player you get the right side, you basically win by default. Unless you really screw it up, you should get that win relatively easily. On the other side, if you are the Maverick or Vanguard player and you are on the blue side, you will absolutely shred balance. Balance will have such a struggle to hold on. But at the same time, I would argue that aggressive incomes here can still be a trap overall, because even after the initial good pressure that you can build up with Maverick or Vanguard, you can't really, often enough, you can't really push super deep, but it's still doable. What are these going after now? The Panzer 4 there. Yeah, they will kill it eventually. It's a 150, so it does some damage. The SK-10s are once again idle. The Wolfpack is once again idle. Tiger here is still alive. It's a little survival specialist. The 149s are silent, which is also not ideal. Tiger. I noticed this thing coming in. Interesting. Did he poke at the pack 40? Looks like it. 88 now in. Oh, that's dangerous. I mean, the 88 is not ideal as an AT piece because it can bounce on Tigers and Panthers, but as you can see here, it can definitely take the kill. And the other thing is it doesn't have the suppression um, reduction against tanks that AT guns get, so it takes suppression by tanks really, really fast. And look at that, it already missed first shot because it's so stressed out. The Tiger could win that engagement relatively easily, I would say. Yeah, the 88 will just keep missing. I don't know why the Tiger is backing off. He could win that. I guess it's backing off because of the Panther coming in, because that's, of course, a different story. But the 88 should not be that big of a deal. It's now going after the Recon. 1410 for Vampiro as he grabbed this flag here as well. Tiger got already one pen. I have to imagine by the Panther. Did the Panther shoot? Yeah, it did. Now the MG34 is getting poked at. 149's finally back in action going after that 88, but if the 88 continues to push forward, they might actually just miss it. More infantry coming in down south. Nice little defensive maneuver there, but look at that. Vampiro is not so far away from equaling this out. He still has plenty of time to do so with 10 minutes. And I mean, there's no real pushing powerful Crusaders. You maybe can grab back this flag, but not that one. So it's going to be very, very tough for Crusader to somehow prevent Vampiro from taking the lead here, especially considering the income difference here at this point. And I mean, if you look at the map, we see so much blue, and there's not as much red. And we have some cheap tools coming in here now with Turans and Toldis and whatnot. Infantry is also not that expensive for the Hungarians. This is probably the most expensive part on the map. Maybe these. Vampiro just building up so many forces and everything with tons of veterans. I mean, it's a nice thing about second Panzer, right? Artillery is now going after this blob, so yeah, I mean, I guess as soon as Crusader shows infantry now, it's just going to get obliterated by artillery. I feel like, as I said, Vampiro could have turned this way sooner, but he's definitely secured. He's definitely secured his way now with all the artillery that he has. Anything that that Crusader shows to Vampiro just get absolutely smacked by all the artillery. Now we're back to counter battery. There we go. This should probably die very, very quickly, and then this will be next. So not looking very good for Crusader. Now Nimrod coming in, can't really do much at that point. Dovershire tried to do something to get in after they got cut off, but yeah, that ship has sailed. If he can spot out these, but the problem is he can't get past the ship unless this one has line of sight of it, which it does not. This will not have line of sight in time, so the Champagny will wipe them out. Yeah, they're already on the run. I mean, if the Champagny here dies, then he might actually be able to grab this flag back, because he can then... Okay, never mind. The 44 could have killed then the Yak Panzer and all these tools there, and all of a sudden would have been looking much, much better for that flag. This one is still re-grabbable, because Vampiro is not actually securing that grab there. He needs to put something in here. We see a counter push now by Crusader. If he can somehow make it work here as well, he might be able to stop it. But he has to do so quickly, because he's about to equal out. 7 minutes left, that's enough for Vampiro. Definitely much closer than we would have expected. One of the 149s did go down. The SK-18s are quickly wiping out everything. Yeah, there we go. That flag regraphed. 13-11 for Vampiro. So now Crusader needs to find another flag, and he might be able to make it work. And if it happens, then it's really just because of a lack of aggression on Vampiro's side. He has such overwhelming forces. He could, at this point, probably just start Q moving forward, really. Because, I mean, look at how much is in the backlines. That's a commander, there's a mortar and ammo. There's a little bit here, that's definitely true, but there's basically nothing here in terms of front line. There's basically nothing here in terms of front line. Actually, oh, never mind, there's two Panzers that got in there, Panzer force that got in there, and some infantry. But still, that can be dealt with. there's just a massive blob of support tools here that hasn't been used. Yeah, you can just Q move all of that forward. It will just wipe out everything. 149 under fire by the SK-18s. Totally going down. Turan will probably go down as well. Oh, never mind. Kills the Puma. Panzer 4 out. No. Spots the Turan though. No, it's still outranged. It's only. No. But if you want to use the heat shell, it outranges it. Because heat shell has that 250-meter range. 1250-meter range. Something just died here. Bring this flag to Vampiro as well. And this one almost. We're closer to 15-9. A Panzer 4 coming in down south together with a Panzer 3 for some recon and probably just desperation really. I don't know what the artillery is doing at this point. Q moving. Okay. I mean, you can do that, I guess. This flag now re-grabbed 15-9 for Vampiro. Finally, the turnaround. I mean, the turnaround has been happening, but the big tick has finally started. Some motorized lovers coming in to stop the bleed, but that's not going to work out, I don't think. Panzer 4 poking on those already. Not looking very good. Not looking very good at all. I mean, at this point, I don't know what else to say until it finishes, to be honest. I mean, we all see how it's going. Crusader will not be able to hold up here. And that means, which is very, very exciting, that we have a tie between Crusader and Vampiro after they have been tied before their games already, which means that we are going to see a game 3, a tiebreaker. And the exciting thing as well is that I knew that this was a tie because in my last stream I looked at the stream before. By the time you see this, I took a look at the current standings in league, so I saw that these two had a tie, but I didn't know which game ended in which way, and I do not know how the tiebreaker ends. So I'm very, very excited for this. I'm very curious to see who of these players manages to secure their spot in the playoffs. So you have set 250 pushing forward to kill that 81mm off. Panzer 4 has lost line of sight, cannot stop it. Panzer 4 now, Panzer 4 is here now in to deal with that Panzer 4. Yikes. Do you get some more action? Panther and Panzer 4 is now in once again down south. This flag has been re-grabbed though, so Crusader is really trying desperately to get some flags, but unfortunately it's a little bit too late, and Vampiro will only, things will only get better for him from here. I mean, Crusader's lines are basically collapsing. They have collapsed essentially. There's hardly anything left on his side. There's so much blue with tons of veterancy everywhere. I mean, this division is great when it comes to veterancy, and if you have leaders everywhere as well, it's just absolutely bonkers then. Oh, we might finally see a Nimrod up close. This is how you used to use them. Not so much anymore. Against infantry, still super effective, and light armor that will struggle against the Nimrod is still effective as well. But you don't want to face off against armor, like actual tanks, anymore because it only has 8 health now, so it dies very, very easily. Which is sad. It used to be great against tanks too, which was made it a little bit broken. Not gonna lie there. Now we see Vampiro just pushing forward, and we do see an ME410, so we do actually see another attempt of a airplay, but of course the 88 is here. Might stop, maybe it depends on the line of sight, might not stop it. But even if it doesn't, stops it with the first shot. Wow, that's nasty. And the other one is here as well. 2 Fokker Wolves now in. As I guess Vampiro is just floating points, and but wow, the 88s get the kill. Damn, don't see this every day. Usually see them pin, but hardly ever see them kill planes. Sometimes it happens, but not very often. I mean, also everything that Crusader brings now. I mean, there's so many support weapons and artillery weapons here. Everything that Crusader brings, Vampiro will just bomb it to death. just get shelled. Surprised that after all that's happened, he has not tried yet to re-grab this flag. That's actually the interesting part for me. You'd also be going for this. Like, if you really wanted to, you could just have everything at this point, really. I mean, he's pushing forward with single units. He has not even tried to move forward the big part of his army. But I guess they wait for the 15-minute time limit, so we are very, very close there. Probably should have just sped things up and be done with it. We're going to be honest. I mean, it wasn't a major issue here because he managed to grab ground well enough, but just in general, it is risky to just continue investing into your backlines. You need to push eventually, so you just need to make sure that you put things on your front lines. But at the same time, of course, if you generate a lot of value by using these backline tools, that will pay off in the long run. And unbalanced, if you haven't traded poorly and if you're not under a lot of pressure by a Maverick player, of course, you can afford to do that. Right? It was not a bad call here in the sense that it was really dangerous at any point for Vampiro because he was in a very good spot. So he could afford himself to do that. But generally speaking, you have to remember that if you are behind against Maverick, you don't want to just continue to build up artillery. You need to push eventually, and you want to do this soon enough if you are on a time limit, of course. If it's not a tournament game and you still have plenty of time before you actually tick down, it's maybe a little bit of a different story. But with a time limit, for sure, you need to keep this in mind. Kills and on both sides. So the Panther, I mean, killing both back forwards, that was hilarious. Did good work against the Panzer force too. That was the one down south. One of the Tigers did a good job here. That was the one up north, dealing with some tools there as well. 44. Oh, actually killed two Panzer force there. Tiger here did quick work with some Pumas. And Panzer 4 killed some tools as well. Oh, a Panther G. Wow. And that's about it. On Vampiro side, we haven't actually looked at stats. Yeah, 3,120 to 4,700. Wow, yeah, pretty decisive win for Vampiro, of course. On his side, we have some support and AT tools that did some work. And the Panther D just pulling some lighter tanks. And a Panther, looks like. Not a Panther that did good work. An IG-33 that just wiped some infantry. Yeah, there's lots of things that did good work. Tanks just absolutely shredding infantry. Wow. Panther D here doing good work as well. Killing two tigers. Yikes. Another Panther that did well. The 88 actually some good work too. The Yak Panzer 4. Wow, look at this thing go. And that was towards the end though, where there was not much to stand in its way, but still. But yeah, great game. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day and see you next time.